Eternally, forever. The name of Moa, Moments of Alwaysness. The Eternally music video is a 20-minute long masterpiece bordering on surrealist horror. It is disorienting and confusing and near chock full of hints that at the time we had never seen before. Hello everyone, my name is Laina and it is TXT month. So to celebrate 5 years with TXT, I am breaking down the 5 Star Seekers sort of videos that we got up to this point using the future knowledge that we have here in the year of 2024 and taking another look at what everything means now that we have the whole story. Spoiler warning, obviously, for the webtoon and web novel, if you have not read them. If you want the whole story broken down by me though, I do have 2 videos. One is a short sort of storybook version, and one is a quite long, actually detailed version of things that happen in the TXT universe. And since today I'm breaking down Eternally, if you want to watch my original breakdown of Eternally that I made back when it came out, the link for that is in the description along with the other 2 to watch at your leisure. Anyways, let's dive in today and look again at the Eternally music video. So in the previous 2 videos, Nap of a Star and Magic Island, I went through the music videos mostly just in order of the way that we see things in the music video. But in an effort to keep this brief and organized, I'm going to be covering this music video a little bit differently. Basically, I'm going to start with each of the individual members' sort of visions and like journey that they go through in this music video, and then I'm going to talk about the overall story afterwards. And I am going into this assuming you know a little bit about the story itself, so let's start with Sven's journey. Largely because he seems to be like the main character of this music video, you know? Most of this music video actually hints at his sort of future sight ability, his foresight, which is just because he's an elf. And it does show us the potential bad ending that he's being warned of, basically with this vision power, or like potentially like a multiverse hint as well, which they do have in that opening scene. Like this might be an alternate universe where things went badly and it's a warning for him, or it could be their potential future at that time. He's also the one who notices the ghost first when they're in that practice room and follows it. This is a very clear-cut reference to the Magic Island music video where they had previously talked about the practice room ghost. Now we're finally meeting the practice room ghost. It's Moa. Anyways, he follows the path that was laid out for him and he ends up in the past. Potentially an alternate past, but we're just gonna go with this is the past for simplicity's sake. And the dice is given to him, this dice. It goes roll, 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 and then it rolls to them and it uses its magic basically. And of course he does see and realize at this point that he's in the past, I think, Tiny Hyuka. Tiny Kai. Which we know because of the amazing storytelling they did where they sort of showed us the shoes earlier on in the practice room. That's like one of my favorite things about this music video, how everything ties together. Anyway, I'm sorry. After he sort of realizes this, has his moment, because he realizes like, oh, like how did I forget that we've met before? How did I forget that like we've been here before? This is when Moa reveals themselves to him. Now, to be honest, this entire sort of scene that he gets in the Eternally music video was kind of in the Star Seekers story, the final one, kind of. It is one of the many ways in which throughout all of the different stories, the webtoon, the web novel, and the music videos, that Moa gives him this dice. But also the scene that he sees where he realizes that they met in the past is also largely the purpose of the die. Let me explain. So as I said, this seems to be a past that they forgot. In Nap of a Star, it showed that they separated from each other as children after they had played together, which is sort of what they were doing here. We sort of briefly see the masks that they wore in Nap of a Star. But here in the music video, Sven learns that they all played together as children and don't remember it. What they were playing was sort of the equivalent of Dungeons and Dragons. It has its own name in the story, which I can never remember offhand. Point is, it's sort of similar to Pathfinder's Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing, hence the 20-sided die. Now, importantly, in the webtoon, this scene does happen, but he uses the dice to see the past. And also, all 5 of them are there, and they realize, like, oh, like, we've met before. That's weird. Something suppressed our memories. And then in the web novel, the dice also teleports them to different universes where they kind of meet other alternate versions of themselves. But they learn this information a little bit differently because in the web novel, the manager tells them that they've met before because he was the one who was teaching them. about how the world works and how like the secrets of Magic Islands were and what their purpose was, basically. We'll talk about that a little bit more when I do the Frost breakdown though. Anyways, in both cases, that dice is showing them crucial information thanks to Moa giving them the dice. So this is a bit of a major difference because the dice is how he gets to view this originally, but here is also where he first obtains it, so it's a little bit weird in that sense. And actually, Subin actually no longer has the die after traveling back in the past. It literally, like, vanishes into thin air, like it disintegrates or something, whatever. It magics away. So yeah, that's also a potential difference. Although I will say at the end of this music video, it does look like the dice has been used up. Like, it's kind of flickering, like it's, like, no longer working. So maybe it is sort of the same, like it was used to bring him there, and then after that it just, like, exists, but it's not got any magical power to it anymore. But that's, like, the major takeaway from what we see Subin experiencing here. This is him learning that they did know the answer. Them together, they could do this because they had learned it previously, but when they were children, it was like a game to them. So what about for, like, Yeonjun and everyone else? I think majorly it's important to note that they don't remember any of what they see. Only Subin is shown to remember what happens here. Instead, the scenes that we see seem to be more for the benefit of us, the audience, as hints about what they kind of have to go through or what they might struggle with. So, Yeonjun. We're sort of shown more insights on, I guess, his fears. In his vision, he sees himself, but he's dead, and he basically failed to save the others. He failed to stop the apocalypse. And he's very driven by his friends as a character. So the cat, who's lurking around there, basically has, in this instance, I believe, backed him into a corner and then offers him a contract. And this is basically a contract he can't refuse. And this scene, although it doesn't happen in such a way, does happen again in the webtoon. Fairly early on, the cat basically waits until the last second to offer its help to Yeonjun so that he's forced to accept it, and the cat unlocks their powers. So while this whole scene is in a bit of a different context, the threat seems to be the same kind of level. The cat still as conniving as ever. We see it was hiding and hanging back, waiting for the moment to offer it to them. So this is kind of a hint at A, Yeonjun's character, and B, that he makes a contract with the cat, even if it isn't in that exact moment. Beomgyu. Now, Beomgyu's scene was super interesting at the time, but what actually is being shown here, based off of what we get in the final version of the Starseekers, is a scene where he is fighting against sort of these lab members, these researchers of the Dragon Slayer clan, in room 17, which is a thing in both the webtoon and the web novel. Now, he sneaks in there because they stole Taeyeon's spellbook, the very same one from the beginning and the one we see him fighting over here, and basically he tries to steal it back. I will say the music video is a lot more confrontational than how the, like, webtoon actually is. And in the web novel, there's, like, a whole thing with this trapped creature that I'm not even gonna get into. You just gotta read it. But yeah, the music video here is a lot more drama. Let's talk about Taeyeon now. So his scene is potentially a reference, I believe, to an object in the web novel. It only appears in the web novel and it did not appear in the webtoon. So it is a flower crown, and this can only be worn by someone who is deemed worthy by the crown itself. It's a powerful magical object. It kind of has its own sentience, as I understand it. And so if they don't deem that the person who's wearing it is strong enough and worthy enough to wield its powers, which is basically to, like, help summoning things, it's meant to help with summoning spells, basically it'll attack its host. Interestingly, the flower crown is Kai's magical object that is given to him by a different version of himself from a different reality, which, again, that's the dice takes them to different realities. This is one of the things that happens. They get given, they help the other version of themselves and then are given a magical object in return for their help. He is given a flower crown because his ability is summoning things. So why it's here in Taeyeon's vision and caused the death of Yeonjun, who's not a summoner, is confusing all around. I do think this was a story point that changed. I can only guess that, in fact, Taeyeon's whole arc significantly changed, because what we see here isn't in the webtoon at all. It's only slightly referenced in the web novel, but it is still absolutely beautiful. Okay, so of course we have to talk about Kai now. And his scene is a little confusing to me. I think it's potentially another reference to changed events. Someone can let me know if they have another opinion on this. Because I think, you know how they need the most innocent one? Pause, my bad. I actually haven't explained this yet. I filmed these videos out of order, so I will talk about this a little bit in the future. But basically, the most innocent one is the one that's supposed to defeat the dragon by singing its true name, the Song of the Star. And in the final version of the story, the one that does this is like an elf that is summoned by Subin, and they're the most innocent one. But my theory is that Kai was supposed to be the most innocent one when they first started the story, hence all the sort of hints of the like angelic. That's just my own personal theory, like they've never confirmed that. They probably will never confirm it. Let me know if you agree with that, but that's what I'm talking about here. Anyway, back to the theory. I think Kai was supposed to be the most innocent one who would start singing that song and thus helping stop the apocalypse. But it would also like other him from the others, and that's kind of also why it was in the sort of sky area. Interestingly, in the final version of the Starseekers, Subin is the one who has to summon the most innocent one because of his elf abilities. Genuinely, this scene still is a little confusing even though we have the whole story at this point, but please let me know if you have any thoughts about it because maybe I've just forgotten something. They made the webtoon really hard to reread right now unless you pay for the whole thing because they have daily passes. So when I'm trying to like bulk do research for videos, it's a little bit slower. Yeah, please let me know what you think. Is this maybe a reference to him feeling separated from the others? Because they do all end up alone basically in their alternate dimensional selves. But yeah, very intriguing. Furthermore, in the Eternally music video, Kai notably also could see Moa here, which to my memory doesn't have a parallel in the Starseekers universe. But I don't believe that there's an exact parallel to only him being able to see Moa besides Subin. Let me know if I'm forgetting a moment though. Okay, so overall, Eternally highlights story arcs. The opening establishes the importance of Tan's spellbook. It's a really powerful, sort of high-leveled book with extremely strong spells in it that takes a high level of magic understanding to actually be able to read. Why he's giving it to Yeonjun, maybe it's a changed story point, I don't know. But the opening also establishes that they can embody their personal races and harness the powers in that final fight against the dragon, so it shows that they have to reach that level to do so. It also does a really good job of demonstrating like the power and the threat of the dragon in my opinion, and like the looming of the apocalypse itself. We see a lot of disaster in this music video. So for the opening scene, that's what that does for me. When it comes to the practice room, the whole practice room concept does sort of set up the idea that they are idols in this universe, and it ties them directly into that like Magic Island music video as well because of the practice room ghost. And of course it sets up Moa for the rest of Subin's sort of story arc in this music video. For the individual sections, I find like it largely shows the characters' struggles, and as I said, half of it seems to be kind of obsolete in the face of the final work, unfortunately. But side note, I am working on a sort of reinterpretation, sort of based off of the music videos, basically a rewrite of TXT's story that I wanted to have done for this week, but it's taking me way longer than I had anticipated. And it's kind of like my homage to the Starseekers universe before the Starseekers webtoon and web novel came out. So that will be made into a video, so I would really appreciate it if you subscribe and look out for that in the future. I'm working really hard on it, and yeah, back to the music video. I think time also only affected Subin here. We kind of see some weird stuff with the clock going backwards and then resuming, and I think it's basically to show like only Subin is the one who remembers it. He's the only one who has physical evidence of it, and everyone else doesn't seem confused at all, whereas Subin's like, I just went through a life-changing moment, you guys. But again, that changes in the final version. We see that they all see the past together. But I will say that him sort of feeling the dread and the like weight of all these future events is very on brand for him as a character. His character struggles with that a lot throughout the story. So yes, a lot of things changed, but this music video, Eternally, is my favorite music video of all time. Even if the story has changed since its release, the good times, the friends, the memories that have been made through this music video, it can't be taken away. It was so exciting for the fandom at the time because look at all this lore dropping. We got 20 whole minutes of it was a movie. I really appreciate the artistry and what it's done for the fandom and just for me personally. Anyways, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe for future content. I will be back tomorrow and the day after with Frost and the Doom's Night, so please stick around for that. I do want to give a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. This would not have been possible, like this whole week would not have been possible without you guys, because you were literally helping pay my editor, helping me meet my deadlines. It's crazy. So thank you guys so much. If you want to become a patron, join our private Discord server, get early access to things. The link is in the description down below. And as it is, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay sunny, everyone. Bye! See you tomorrow.